Hey guys, I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about foam rolling. I feel like a lot of people overcomplicate this in their minds and leave it out of their routine because they're just really not sure how to do it, and it doesn't feel like a treat. Generally, it's not, in the beginning especially, it can be quite painful and uncomfortable, so it's something that if you really are unsure, those sensations are going to make you not want to continue to do it. If you're unsure in any way, am I doing this right, and then you encounter pain, that's a real turning point for a lot of people to go, I'm just not doing this doesn't feel good to me. So just a few tips to kind of get you started, to get you in a foam rolling practice, because it can really help with your mobility, your recovery, your alignment, your posture, and just any pain you might be having. It's really going to help you with that. So I like to do the whole body, kind of gloss over everything and just see where my real tight spots are, and then focus in for a few minutes on the places that need it the most. If you overdo it, you can get some inflammation and you can just basically anger things. So you want to ride that fine line of getting blood flow to the area, of loosening up some of that tissue without irritation. So I like to start in a forearm plank position and hit the quads first. Go all the way to the top of the thigh and just roll it out slowly. You will probably immediately notice some tight spots in the quads. I like to go up and down a few times and kind of see where I have the most issues. You can slightly turn the foot in or out to get the inner thigh or the outer thigh a little bit more. You don't want to roll directly on the IT band that goes down the outside of the thigh, but anywhere around that is fantastic to hit. Go pretty slowly. If you think of like bread dough, when you go to knead bread dough, if you come in hot and hit it fast, the dough kind of seizes up. It doesn't have much give to it. Your muscles will react in much the same way. So if you kind of go in slowly and knead them gently and kind of really slowly get in there, that tissue is gonna yield to you and let you get in there and do some good work. If you kind of, come in aggressively, that the muscle's gonna tense up, it's gonna freeze up, and you're not gonna get very far. So it's really important that you try to relax as much as possible, breathe deeply, and don't shock or irritate that tissue. No more. If you come across any really, really tight spots, just hang out there. Give it a good 30 seconds. You might feel an increase in tension, you might feel an increase in sensation as the time goes by. Just keep breathing into that. If you want a little bit more, you can actually move the limb. Say I have, a knot in this right quad that I've trapped, and then I can maybe move the leg a little bit, just take it through a range of motion slowly. And sometimes that can help get that tissue to release for you. Give it a good 30 seconds. You can pause here and kind of go up and down your quads and find any spots that are sticking for you. I'm going to move on, but you can pause and just spend a good 2 or 3 minutes going up and down your quads and finding any major spots. You might have more on one leg than the other, and that's perfectly normal. Moving on, we'll hit the hamstrings. So some of these can be kind of tougher if you're out of condition a little bit, if planking is difficult for you, if holding your body weight is difficult for you. You can do one leg at a time and kind of use your other foot for support here. That can help. It can still be problematic on the wrists. I can show you some wrist stretches in another video that'll help with that. But nice and slow up and down the hamstring. If you're able to, you can get both at the same time. You can hold yourself up and get in there. And if you've got some really tight spots in one over the other, you can cross the leg over to get a little bit of deeper sensation and just hang out on any of those tight spots for a good 30 seconds. You can pause here and go up and down the hamstrings a few times and find any of those spots that are really tighter for you, and then move on to the next spot. I like to hit the calves next. Same thing with the hamstrings. If you're able to hold yourself up and go through this, good for you. If not, that's okay too. You can cross a leg over to get a little bit more resistance. Or you could actually put a chair on either side here, and you could put the foam roller up in the chair and roll one leg back and forth across it like that. If you're having a hard time holding yourself up and getting enough pressure on the calf. We're all done with the calves according to Declan, so we're gonna move on. So when you're doing the back, avoid the low back. There's other ways to work that tissue that are better than the foam roller. It can cause it to seize up. It can just be too much, and then you're gonna end up with your back in spasm, which is the opposite of what you want. So I like to start, your floating ribs are down about here. I like to start just above that, and then bring my arms back overhead, and then just slowly slide all the way back to the top of the shoulders and then down to the floating ribs. This one is the most pleasurable by far. The other ones don't feel like a treat, but people tend to feel like this one feels like a relief as they go. So this might be your favorite one. So a few times going up and back, keeping the neck long. And then you can turn slightly and really hit the lats. If you're a woman, avoid rolling too far toward the front. You have lymph nodes and you have breast tissue in here, and you don't really want to roll. You don't really want to roll over all that. You'll have plenty to work on with the lats, I promise you. Nice and slow. You might find that by changing the position of your arm, you can get different tissue different ways. Just go nice and slow. Slow. You can pause here and go up and down the back a few times. You might have spots toward either side of the spine. That's a really common area. You might have more of your tightness in the lats, but just check in and see where for you it's tighter. The main thing with foam rolling is just to, avoid tensing up your body. You're trying to unlock tissue here. So the calmer you are, the steadier your breath is, the calmer your breath is, the more likely your body is to let go of any tension it's holding. If your heart rate is going 100 miles a minute, if you're holding yourself up like this, if you're holding tension and shortened breath, then your body is not gonna let go of anything. It's gonna be like, oh shit, what's wrong? If you are breathing deeply, if you're getting your heart rate down, if you are really focusing on relaxing and releasing, your body is more likely to work with you rather than against you. So I hope this helps. Just get your foam roller, get started. Just start exploring. Really, the main places to avoid are right around the floating ribs, the lower back, the neck. You've got some lymph nodes right here in the groin area, and you really want to avoid going over the breast tissue. But other than that, hit everything and just find the spots that are holding you back, that are tight, that are causing you some restriction. I think that's about it. The only other place you kind of want to avoid is rolling directly over the IT band. Not that you won't have tightness here, but you're not gonna get through that tissue with a foam roller. So your better bet is to roll the TFL, which is the front of the hip, and then roll around the IT band to kind of try to work the tissue around it, because that thick, dense, fibrous tissue of the IT band isn't going anywhere with this guy. So good luck, let me know how it goes, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments.